Hi everybody, I'm Phil Fatica. Welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. It's Channel 9. And let me introduce you to the gentleman sitting next to me. He is a very familiar face to sports fans throughout the Tri-County, Tri-State area. Ron Surtz. Ronald, thanks for joining us.
Phil, glad to be here.
Your resume in sports reads like a who's who. You've done everything. You have held leadership positions, honors, you've coached, you have been cross-country all-city team back in prep in 85 or 86?
85 sounds good.
85
yeah,
sounds
that sounds
good.
great.
So here's a man who knows what he's talking about when he's talking about sports, and we have a great topic for you today, something that's boiling under the radar, and he's going to bring it up to the top. We're going to be talking today about what's known as the Erie Sports Commission. What does that mean? What is that? It sounds great.
Yeah, and it is great. It's really, Phil, sort of a transformational opportunity for Erie to be involved in sports, to the area of bringing in sporting events, attracting sporting events, maybe creating sporting events, and certainly to help people who already have sporting events make them bigger and better. And it's all about the economic impact.
Sure.
You know, Erie, as you know, is really a tourist town. And the more people we can bring to our community, the better. It has an effect on all levels for our community.
Now, you're not just talking amateur, you're talking professional.
We're talking
Alpha the Omega.
Yeah, we're talking all of sports.
Okay.
And Erie's always shown itself to be a great sports town, whether it be high school sports, college sports, professionals having 4 professional teams. So we've demonstrated that we're a good sports town, but there's never been an organization that's been out there to sort of put it all together and market Erie as a great place to bring your sporting events.
Okay.
And I think we demonstrated that even as recently as last year when we had the NCAA Frozen Four National Women's Hockey Championship. Erie supported that to a high level. It seems like anytime we have a sporting event of any magnitude here, you know, the Erie people have been great at supporting those kind of events. But there hasn't been that organization that's out there looking for those events. Like, who can we get? How can we attract them into our community? And how can we fill our sports facilities? You know, many of them are dark at certain times, and especially in the winter. You know, Erie's a summer community, but in the winter when you need more tourism, what can attract people to Erie? And we think sports is one of the answers. Now,
are you a standalone entity, or are you with somebody and you're part of their larger umbrella?
Well, the history of it is that literally a couple years ago I started looking into this concept of a sports commission, was doing a lot of research. I always thought it was a great concept for our community and a good fit. And then about a year ago, a little over a year ago, in talking with a whole number of people, we wound up in the lap of Visit Erie, which, and their mission and their role, John Oliver and the group down there, is to promote Erie, to bring tourists to town. And it just seemed like a great fit. And the more we talked together, they thought, you know what, this is the same mission we're trying to drive, except it's through sports. And so we found ways to work together, to cooperate with one another, and to seek funding for the commission, because they thought if we can enhance the amount of dollars we have to support the tourism mission, one of those elements will certainly be the sports commission. And so we've been working together for about a year.
I would say that even, I think my notes even indicate that you're looking to bring the Great Lakes, you did bring the Great Lakes Steelhead Expo to Erie. So we're looking, I mean, fishing is huge. I'm a trout fisherman. I like to perch fish too, but steelhead is, you go down to Walnut Creek on a great day and they're lined up, rod to tip, you know, all the way down. And so that's part of what you're talking about. You're talking about bowling championships.
Yeah, we're talking about the breadth of it. I think sometimes people, and even with me specifically, they think of, oh, well, he's a hockey guy or he's a basketball guy, and sort of those high-profile sports. But we're talking about here is anything that attracts patrons or participants. And so fishing definitely is one. Running is another one. We have gymnastics. We have the state pool championship.
I saw that. Yeah, the 8-ball. Huh? You in that?
Yeah, I'm not playing. Okay. Oh, well, if I play, I'll be out early. Okay. But I think what I've discovered as we've gone along here, and candidly, we were looking at initiating the sports commission, finding the best way to do it, doing all of that research. But as we're doing that, the more visible we've become, the more people have come to us and said, hey, we have this event, or we have this sport, we have manpower, we're interested in doing it. The Steelhead Expo is one of the best examples. I think the day after they announced me as the executive director of the sports commission, the next day I had 2 guys on my doorstep who were who were steelhead fishermen, saying, you know what, we've always wanted to do an event. We have all these steelhead fishermen in town at this time of the year, and we think it'd be great if we could have a couple hundred of these guys at a picnic, you know, or put on some kind of event. And to make a long story short, that developed into this Steelhead Expo, which brought hundreds and hundreds of these young fishermen to town, old fishermen too, and you know, where they had sponsors, they had exhibits, they had demonstrations. It was great, and they brought them all together in this event that I think is only going to grow and capitalize on the interest that's here, because Erie, and this was unknown to me, is really the steelhead capital, maybe of the nation. Wow. And I think the more we expose that, and the more opportunities there are to bring more of these people to town and give them something other than just the fishing to do, the more we can capitalize on that.
How about some of the golf tournaments? Now, you know, there used to be the big event, the charity event at Kakwa, that moved off into Peak and Peak. We have a limited season for playing golf. You know, those weekends, people don't want to necessarily give up their courses. Is that on your radar too?
Well, I think we're going to look at all the opportunities. You know, and one of the things I discovered early, Phil, and if you're an old dog in this town like I am, you sort of know this, that a lot of those great events, like the professional golf event or the professional bowling event, some of these came and went. You know, they had their heyday and then they went away. And I think part of that, my theory has been, when you're putting on an event like that, and I was lucky to have done that with the McDonald's Classic and a lot of other
considered
events.
To be one of the best four-team tournament in the country.
Absolutely. But when you do it for a lot of years and there's just a small number of people involved, you can get burnt out a little bit if you don't have some support mechanism there. And I think that's what the Sports Commission can provide for those people too. So we're going to look at all those different types of events, but it may not be the big glamorous kind of event all the time. I think people might think, well, Ron's involved, so we're going to get these high-profile national events. But I think sometimes the cumulative effect of events we already have and can grow them by 15 or 20%, you know, whether it be patrons, whether it be participants. If we do that, the cumulative effect is going to be greater than bringing in some of those big national events. And so we're hoping to do a little bit of both. Softball is always huge here. You know, absolutely. We have some great world-class softball players. Now, is there a number where they can reach you, a website where they can get more information? That's what we're here for, to help you. Our website is eriesportscommission.com. That's all one word. eriesportscommission.com, all one word. And everything is there? Everything is there. It gives a listing of events. It gives opportunities to volunteer. It shows what the Sports Commission does. There's a listing of all of our venues. I think it's one of the other things that's been lacking a little bit for our community, is if somebody was looking for, you know, where do you go to find out what kind of facilities do you have, you know, and we have good sports facilities. We don't have, you know, we're not going to host the Olympics anytime soon. But I
Maybe
think,
next
you know, with the Tula Arena being renovated, with places like Family First, the new prep sports complex down there, I think the combination of all of those, and even sometimes the high school gyms, we're looking at bringing in a girls' tournament where they're going to use a lot of facilities around town over a period of 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
And I think, you know, sometimes it's being creative, but I think Erie has an opportunity to do what I call the right-sized kind of events.
So, in a sense, is it fair to say that you're pretty much like a clearinghouse almost? It's a, I mean, that's a limited term, but it's a place where people can go to find out, can you help me with this? And my dovetail question to that is, can people volunteer to help you?
Oh, absolutely. There's, you know, and we need, at this time especially, we need volunteers. We've been fortunate enough to be working with some of the local colleges and universities to have some interns working on the project. Right now, I'm sort of the Lone Ranger. And until you get full funding, you know, you're not going to be able to staff it up, although we don't anticipate any more than a small, maybe 3-person staff to work on bringing these events in. But we're hoping to be sort of a full-service kind of organization.
Right.
So if somebody has a smaller event and they need some help in marketing and promotions,
You're not going to charge them for that?
No,
right?
we don't charge. There's no charge for anything that that we do. We work out a lot of partnership opportunities with people who are bringing us events, and part of the funding that we're seeking as we're getting through what I think is really the startup phase of this, almost all of it's dedicated to bringing these kind of events to town or helping people who have those kind of events.
It takes money to put this all together. I would say that probably you should be around 300,000 or so to horseshoe turn. I mean, you know, well, you talk about that.
Yeah,
you need money to get rolling.
Yeah, and as I was fortunate enough to, you know, in the past 2 years, go and visit about 20 different sports commissions, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, in communities that are somewhat our size, and communities that were much bigger. You know, you can go to some big locations and they'll have a $1 million budget and they'll have 7 or 8 people on staff to do it. We think we can operate with 2 or 3 people to have the same kind of effect, because again, we're not going after these huge events with huge fees attached and so forth. We think we can vet all of it down to the right-sized events that fit at the right times of the year for our community. And so that's what we're looking at. And so most of the budget we've proposed is about marketing and promotional funds to identify Erie as a possible location, to get information out there to the right people, the decision makers. It's really a people business, as you know, that it's all relationship building. It's all talking to one person or bringing one event in and doing such a good job that they'll spread the word and hopefully repeat and come back, or at least tell other people what a great venue Erie is for their sporting event.
And even running, you know, the I don't know, 10K, the 26-mile one.
The Erie Runners Club is a hidden jewel in our community. What they do monthly, you know, whether it be marathon, half marathon, turkey trot, they do it all, and they do such a good job of running those events at a high level that I think our opportunity is to be able to go after some of the national running events, the women's national half marathon and those kind of things, because our infrastructure is in place. We've got a beautiful venue at Presque Isle. We've got great volunteers with the Runners Club, and I think we have everything else that a community could deliver for an event like that. So those are the things as we go around out there that we start to look at and target a little bit.
Let's talk about you for a little bit. You're involved with the Bayhawks still?
I'm not involved with the Bayhawks. I was the initial president of the Bayhawks and spent the first couple of years getting them staffed up and recognized in the community and put the marketing and promotions in place. I'm still with the Erie Otters. I'm still one of the owners of the Erie Otters.
The reason I say that, though, is because Ron brings to the table a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, a lot of professionalism. So he really knows what he's talking about when he's talking about the Erie Sports Commission here. And is there anything that you can tell us now that you're working on without revealing what you're working on, or is that information too confidential?
No, there's nothing confidential about what we're doing. I met this morning with people for the Pennsylvania State 8-ball championships. You know, how we can pull that off at a high level. We've moved that down to the waterfront down at the convention center. And what that allows us to do is, instead of having 70 or 80 or 90 tables, we now have 150 pool tables down there, 2,800 competitors in late March. And I think those are the kind of things that drive economic impact again. But to the point I made earlier, if we do that right, then maybe there's national pool events that are out there too, where we can demonstrate to them the kind of facility we have and how well we take care of those guests when they're here playing in a tournament like that.
As long as you mention that 8-ball, it comes to my mind that the casino is rolled out into the poker tournaments. Now, would you be stepping on their toes to say, we're going to have a big Texas Hold'em tournament down here at the convention center or wherever, the Ambassador? I don't care.
No, because
that's a possibility.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and they would probably be a partner in that kind of event. You know, we're already talking with them about the involvement with the 8-ball tournament because those are their customers, you know, the same people. So if we can work throughout the community, and that's how we double and redouble the benefits here, is by working with other organizations in the community, other businesses in the community, because everybody that comes to town is looking for restaurants and hotels and all the entertainment options. And so the more that we can expose other businesses to these tourists that are coming, these competitors, a couple things happen. Business is good all around for everybody, and these people become repeat visitors. You know, so they'll come back to Erie when there's not a competition. We believe that, and so our goal is to make certain that the experience that the visitors have is good too.
Yeah, absolutely. How, when you, if this is your area that you're looking to draw, you're not just limited to Erie, Crawford, Warren, Ashtabula, or Chautauqua counties. Canada, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Missouri,
matter. Absolutely.
Nevada.
Absolutely. It depends on the event. If we have a national event in here, like we did with the Frozen Four, you know, you're going to get people from all over, hockey fans from all over. If you're going to have a state championship of some sort, well then, yeah, it's definitely more regional. But I think we're reaching out to all of the different areas in as many areas that we can. And there isn't a sport that we're not looking at, whether it be, you know, horseshoes, whether it be Frisbee competitions. There's so many crazy sports that are out there right now. But the thing about the crazy sports, I call them, is they bring a lot of people.
Oh gosh.
You know, so you're suddenly bringing hundreds and hundreds of people into a community that they've never been in before and don't know much about Erie. And whether you're bringing them in the summer when maybe it's a little busier and hotel rooms aren't as plentiful as they would be, or the rates might not be as good, it's still beneficial to the community. But if we can work to put events on the shoulder seasons or in the winter, though, that's where typically tourism is down and everybody benefits from that.
I'm glad you mentioned about, let's say, the Frisbee. I have a nephew that plays extreme Frisbee, you know, and I went, what's that, you know? But for example, the volleyball tournaments they hold down on Presque Isle, those are, you better bring your A game to some of those tournaments, you know? I mean, they're tough.
And what's happening is, you know, they've got 6 volleyball courts down there. They see the opportunity that the Sports Commission could provide, and they're looking to add a couple more courts down there, and then maybe even another site on Presque Isle for more courts, because the more opportunities we have to bring these events to town, and the better the facilities are, the more of these events we can have. So it's really the venues that drive the events. I was out in Las Vegas at the Teams convention that was out there, which is really putting together cities and events. And I know one of the, I was with the Pennsylvania delegation, and one of the ladies came representing a soccer event, and came up to all the people that were representing Pennsylvania and said, I have a big soccer event and I'd like to see, you know, who would be interested in hosting it. And most of the other people said, well, we have 4, you know, great soccer fields, and you know, and she said, no, I need bigger than that. And I was the only one that could say, you know what, we have 20 some soccer fields up at Family First. We have state-of-the-art facilities up there, and we can host a lot of different events. And of course, then I was the only one that got a chance to talk with her. So I think those are out there. And right now, as we continue to seek funding to get this a quicker startup, because that's what we're looking for. We hope that the state, through an increase in the hotel motel tax, is going to eventually be able to fund the entire
some seed money.
Absolutely. But right now we're out seeking grants, monies from wherever we can to get a quicker startup.
I know you mentioned that sometimes the winter time is perhaps not the best time, but still people do ski here, they do snowmobile here, and they do cross country. And Craig Latimer and the quad games, I mean, you know, I know they have to postpone it sometimes, there's not enough snow, but still we live in a climate where snow is a reality. And
the quad games,
there's no stone, I think what you're saying is going to be left unturned as to what we can do here.
The quad games are a great example. There's a created event.
Right.
There's Craig Latimer saying, let's create this event, and 30 years later, they're about to celebrate their 30th anniversary. You know, it's one of the premier events in town, and it's great. It not only handles local people, a lot of people come from outside and stay in our community to participate in that event. So that's a great example of some of the things we either want to be attached to, help with, or maybe create.
This is Ron Search. We're talking about the Erie Sports Commission. You can help out. The website again is?
eriesportscommission.com, and right on there, there's a Get Involved page. You can click on that, and there's a form. It takes 2 minutes to fill it out, and then they'll be hearing from me.
Okay, good. Now let me ask you the really personal question here. We got a couple of minutes left. Of all the events we've been talking about, besides your involvement in basketball and of course now with hockey with the Otters, is there anything that you would really, your heart really thumps for, and you'd like to say, boy, I wish we could land this. This would be really, I'd work all weekend without sleep for that one.
Well, I think there's a lot of those that are out there. I think that's one of the things that I found interesting is I go from a national half marathon and say, boy, that'd be cool for our community, to a basketball event or a new soccer event, because I think I'm an Erie kind of guy. So I think anything that's great for Erie, that helps promote Erie. I don't know if that big one has landed yet where I say that's the one I want to go after. We got the Pennsylvania State Bowling Championships in 2 years, and that's 8,000 people and their families. So
that's
these are big, and so that's big to me because it's big for our community. But maybe there's that big one out there that's gonna.
I think you'll find it, because you're the guy that has the vision, the enthusiasm, the knowledge, the contacts, the professionalism, and the experience. I mean, it takes all of that rolled up into what you do to make the Erie Sports Commission a success.
I'm going to have you be my PR agent.
And one more thing is, too, that you're under the umbrella of Visit Erie. So it's got a real strong legitimacy to it. They're not in this to make money. They're not promoting themselves. They're promoting the large area in which we live. You got about a minute to wrap up and make your final pitch. It's all yours.
Well, I just think, again, it's a transformational opportunity for our community. I think it drives everything we want to in our community about what a great city and region we have. And I think any involvement I welcome, whether it's people who want to serve on committees, maybe be representatives for their sport, or just pitch in. I think the more the merrier. I'm a team kind of guy, and I think if we can get the right people on the team, we'll be very successful.
Oh, I know you will be. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks,
good to see you. Thanks, everybody. I'm Phil Fatica. We've been talking with Ron Search about the Erie Sports Commission. You can get involved. The address is online, eriesportscommission.com. Until next time, take care.